So the other thing that I wanted to bring up is about a lot of NBA news right now is centered around. Well, we have talked about in the last episode with Giannis leaving, and now today and yesterday there has been seamlessly endless articles from every publication posted about why Anthony Edwards needs to leave Minnesota because he needs to be on a bigger stage. And I just want to know why every single time a small market star comes up before they're even anything really special, because everyone thinks that Anthony Edwards is special in a way that's he has the potential to be a superstar. He has the potential to be an MVP. He has the potential to be a top 5 player. That's all it is right now. He's very good. He's an all-star player right now. But he has the potential to be that level of player. Every time one of these guys comes up at a small market, there's a seemingly just endless push by NBA media and NBA fans that these players shouldn't stay on their small market teams that drafted them. Why? Why don't you want every team to, at all the small market teams, all the big market teams, to have good players? What's the point of having a 30-person league? Everyone talks about expansion, how the league is so talented. What's the point of doing that if you just want all the good players to just go play for the Lakers, go play for the Celtics, go play for a New York team? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And that's the same thing, and I'll get into this too, with the Damian Lillard stuff. It's like people are like, he requested a trade and they're not meeting his demands right away. No one's ever going to want to sign with Portland. Nobody wants to sign with Portland right now anyways. They've had to draft all their
guys. Portland has had an issue to signing free agents since like the 70s, dude.
Yeah.
Like since it's been a team.
It's the same
reason. It's not some new thing since our GM isn't helping.
My franchise was the first franchise to do this, dude. We were literally the first franchise to do this. We traded Kareem away. And we were mid for like 40 years until we drafted another generational star.
But also, I think that's you got to think like that era of the Lakers kind of birthed the modern NBA and like made it popular. Yeah. And it's like
it's the reason this big market stuff works. We started this.
Exactly, you started it. Like people are like, oh my god, we saw an MVP caliber type player leave, go to LA, and now the NBA is like one of the biggest leagues in the world. It's a formula that they want to follow.
Yeah, and no other sports league is like this.
No.
Every other sports league celebrates drafting players, developing them correctly, and building championship rosters. Like, no NFL team is like, yeah, my quarterback is going to request a trade right away as soon as his rookie contract is over.
Yeah, my star wide when LaMelo signed his rookie extension, people are talking about, is he going to want to ask out before it's over? It's like, should he ask out before it's over? Should he ask out after his extension? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
dude, what are you talking about?
3 years in the league.
Yeah, it's like, oh, LaMelo's he just wants to be in LA because that's where he's from. Okay.
Yeah, it's this
NBA players spend so minuscule time in their actual homes during the regular season.
No.
Most players end up living in LA anyway in the off season. Right?
Yeah, you don't think LaMelo lives in LA for 4 months out of the year, 5 months out of the year?
he does. Like,
he goes home and lives in LA. I guarantee you. You think he's living in Charlotte during the summers? No,
not at all.
Yeah, I'm just so exhausted by all this big market talk because it's just so dumb. And you're right. Like, the NBA is the only sport where this happens, right? Where media members and fans alike are actively it's like they want, like, why do you want this to happen? Why do you want every young star to leave the market that drafted them to go play for LA or Miami or New York?
And what's the point of rebuilding then? Why am I trading away my star for again then? Should I just trade away my star for 5 first-round picks, draft another star, have him for 4 years, and then trade him away again and just endlessly do this? If the media, if fans have, if big market fans, in big media and fans, big market media and fans had it their way, the Lakers, Celtics, and Knicks would have a combined 70 NBA championships. There would be no other team with a fucking championship. It's so stupid.
No.
And we're at the peak. We are at the peak golden age. We're entering a golden age in like level playing field in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
There is probably 10 teams you could tell me that if they got enough breaks during the regular season, I could see them winning a championship.
And that was not the case at all like 3 years ago.
Not even like literally within the last 10 years until like 2019, there was 2 or 3 teams that you thought were winning the championship. The Rockets, from between 2015 and 2019, the teams you thought were winning the championship were the Warriors or the Cavs, and then it was the Warriors, the Cavs, or the Rockets, or OKC for like a year or 2.
But
even like slightly before that, it was like Heat and Spurs, right?
Yeah, it's like the Heat and Spurs are going to run through the East and West.
Yeah, and Celtics Lakers before that, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's so dumb, and especially when people talk about like if Anthony Edwards wants to become the face of the league, he needs to go to a bigger market so his name can get out there. LeBron was the face of the league playing in Cleveland for 15 years. It doesn't matter.
KD was one of the faces of the league playing in Oklahoma City, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Anthony Edwards' name is everywhere, and he's in Minnesota. Why? Like
Giannis plays in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Giannis plays in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now.
Anthony Edwards is also getting his flowers. People are acting like he's going unseen, and it's like he's everywhere in the media.
Yeah,
he's magically gonna get more everywhere in the media.
Giannis doesn't even live in the United States for every single month, except for most of the offseason, and he's one of the faces of the league. I think a dude living in Minnesota, because we live in the modern age, dude. He can make a media appearance by propping up his phone on a tripod, dude.
Oh, 100%.
Like, it's not. It's one of the most frustrating things, honestly.
Yeah, the league is entering a spot where, like you said, they're entering a golden age of competitiveness, and also I think they're gonna. We've already started a revolution, like of basketball that's coming through with the bigs. We're getting this new era of skilled bigs, and I think it's like basketball is more popular and just when bigs are playing. It kind of reminds me of boxing in a way, where when heavyweights are at their best, it's popular, and it's like people are gonna want to see the skilled big men, and I'm worried the NBA is gonna fuck it up a little bit. The marketing has been quite shit.
And to be honest, if the NBA wants to be a global sport, which it is right now, basketball is a global sport right now.
Oh,
it's probably the second most global sport behind soccer or football.
Yeah,
but it's the most global sport behind that.
Well, the NBA stated that they want to push to be more like a international soccer.
And if you want to do that, I'm telling you right now, you can't have every team playing in LA. Like you can't be only focusing on LA. Because why? If we have a conference or a developmental, like if we have a league, for example, in Europe, why does a dude in France or a dude in the middle of nowhere in Poland who catches on to the team that's based out of Poland, for example, why does he care? Why should he want his guy to go to LA at the next level?
Why do they care?
No.
Other than
and also they're gonna have to find a way to are they just gonna have NBA sanctioned leagues, or is it gonna be like a Champions League thing where the NBA is the Champions League and you kind of combine and shit like that? I don't know.
I think eventually they would want to get to the talent level where you could have relegation and teams could go in and out and stuff like that, but I don't know how that would really work.
Soccer has Euro leagues, and then it also has Saudi leagues and all that. But then
the problem is they can't.
The
NBA really can't be truly like FIFA because the NBA is its own league in itself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unless they were to create a separate entity
That's what I was saying. Are they trying to
unless FIBA overtook it, but I don't think they would want to do that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
It's way more money than FIBA at this point.
Yeah. Like a ton more money for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just so exhausting with this face of the league nonsense, especially because what's ultimately more like how players become the face of the league is not by leaving their team to go play for LA or Miami. It's when they take the franchise they're drafted to and they elevate them to places they've never been before. Like Chicago is one of the bigger markets in the country by population and by like total reach, yes, but the Chicago Bulls were like a shithole organization when Michael Jordan.
Well, they are now. They always were.
They still kind of are now, right?
They still are.
But back then, in 1984, the Chicago Bulls then are like the Timberwolves now, right? That's how down bad the Bulls were. Michael Jordan put that franchise on the map, became the face of the league by himself because he elevated that franchise up. LeBron to the Cavs did the same exact thing. It's not like LeBron went to Miami and became the face of the league after that. He was already the face of the league from 2007 on when he was still on the Cavs making the finals.
Even younger than that, dude. Like starting like 2005, he was like the second or third best player in the NBA.
Yeah. So it's just such nonsense about how like the face of the league people act like the face of the league needs to be in a top 3 sports destination, but it's just not true at all.
And fans and regular people, stop pretending like you care about viewership numbers, revenue numbers. You don't care and you shouldn't care. You should care about the product of basketball being put out and you yourself as a fan and your teams being good. You should not care that the NBA gets more money because a star goes to LA.
Yeah. Also, even more, I can talk about the NBA ticket price inflation. Like some of these ticket prices to get in these.
And Americans think it's like a cool thing. They're like, wow, like for example, Messi coming over to the United States. MLS tickets have been skyrocketing price. You want to know why soccer and football is so popular in other countries? It is extremely cheap to both view and play the sport.
Yes.
The U.S. has
faced
itself.
Should be the easiest thing to access on television and as an event. Yeah. You should be able to, and it's also great for the players because like, especially in small markets, like if we're on the top of the small markets, like Portland, Friday night, tickets are cheap. Moda Center. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you're gonna go watch the Blazers. Are you gonna go watch the Thorns play? Yeah, if the tickets are cheap, but the tickets are all priced up. It's like it's stupid.
Yeah,
like you got the Thorns are almost as expensive as Sounders games and stuff. It's like,
yeah,
and
especially in cities where. And that's why baseball continues to have so much support. You can go to a baseball game. The product of baseball has not been great over the last 10-ish years, especially over the last 5 or 6 years. But you know what you could always do? You can always go to a baseball game for $10 to $15. It costs nothing to go to a baseball game. You can play baseball. It's why baseball was America's pastime for so long. You could go and just play baseball. With a stick and a bat.
Baseball's viewership issue is the fact that it's having product issues.
Yeah, it's also so long to watch the games, but they're working.
People aren't loving the product. Yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I can rant about it forever, but like I've said before, I don't think being a fan of a small market team and having good player on it is one of the most draining things if you're active in the social space of sports overall. It's people have been pushing for Giannis to leave Milwaukee for 7 years now, 6-7 years now. It's the most draining thing of all time. And also, whatever that one dude is, I saw his article that was the Bucks should just blow it up right now. Please stop writing about the NBA, dude. You don't deserve a job. Okay.
Yeah, some people. Okay, there are some media members. There are some media members who honestly just have no business talking about the NBA. It's actually ridiculous. It's crazy.
There's a couple Blazers beat writers like that.
Ooh. And publications are cutting back on good writers for small market teams, which I can rant about forever, which I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it at this. The staff cuts at The Athletic, cutting all the beat writers.
Blazers cut writers.
For example, in the NFL, if you follow local beat writers for your favorite team, you will have all the information and news for that team. It is almost impossible to do that in the NBA because, one, the NBA does not support a lot of local writers having access to the news and information that they give out. Second off, all the big publications cut the beat writers. The Athletic had beat writers, and ESPN had beat writers at almost every franchise. They fired most of them or laid them off.
Yeah, I feel like having high level beat reporters for your respective team is invaluable, honestly.
And the Bucks don't have any right now. We have one guy, and his name. I'm not gonna name drop him, but we have one guy, and I think he can do great. He's a very good writer, but he's not good at knowing anything about what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just reporting what's going on from like Shams and Woj tweets. It's like I don't need this. Like, it's great to learn like inside stories of like locker room stuff, but like I want to know what's going on in the team.
Yeah,
the beat writers are the ones that should be like, hey, I'm hearing that the Bucks are interested in so and so.
Yeah,
and that's something that
NBA just has. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say that's something I'm grateful for, I guess, as a Timberwolves fan, because the Timberwolves media people are like actually exceptional. Like, there are so many who are just outstanding.
I always see John
Krasinski.
Yeah,
I got to talk about him for a second, because he is the single person that inspired me to get into NBA media. Like, he's
a really good writer. I've looked at his work, even though I don't really care about the Timberwolves.
He is a fantastic writer, and like, he is such an important person within the Timberwolves fan base and people who are following Minnesota sports, because his coverage is just second to none, and that goes a very, very long way when it comes to having interest in the team. And you've also got guys for the Timberwolves. I'll name drop them. The Dane Moore NBA podcast, Jack Borman, all those guys are just phenomenal. And it's sad to hear that a lot of other teams don't have that same kind of local media scene, because it goes a long way. And also, the reason that a lot of these teams don't have that is because, like, the bigger media conglomerates like The Athletic, who have taken a turn for the worse, ESPN, they've been laying off a lot of their guys, the local beat reporters that have made their sites so special in years past. And it's just different.
And at the end of the day, sports media is really hard for local newspapers and media outlets. It's a dying industry, sadly. I mean, lots of local reporting, news stations and stuff are unable to support themselves. I mean, unless you're in a really small town where you're kind of just like catching news here and there about events, but big city newspapers are getting overtaken by big news conglomerates, and there's really nothing they can do. But
and I think that the issue with the NBA, though, I'll say one thing, is they're investing in these debate shows. Like, even like their halftime shows at this point is kind of like, I love TNT, but I think it's better for the sport if you invest in your writers and your actual knowledgeable, like, film, teach, educate, break down the sport.
Yes.
Videos. You know what I mean?
I'm going to tell you this.
I'm jealous of the NFL, because I feel like every time I look on ESPN, there's just a random dude in his office breaking down some NFL film. Why doesn't the NBA have that?
NFL media members is highly full of journalists that have moved their ways up. For example, one of the senior writers at CBS, Pete Prisco, he was a Jacksonville beat writer who got moved up through CBS over the years, and now he's one of the senior writers. So he knows how to report, and he knows what questions to ask when he goes on these big media tours. In the NFL as well, all of those talk shows, a lot of them are filled with former good NFL players.
Yeah.
Good NFL players. What former NBA players right now are on any of the mainstream news shows?
It's JJ Redick, and that's it.
He's not even on them all the time. He's like he appears on First Take.
But okay,
but Kirk appears.
But he's the only one. I mean, he's more focused on his podcast, anyways.
Yeah, the NBA media stuff, like the national stuff, is so weird, because I genuinely do think that the ratings would just be better if you had people who actually knew the sport, because people would watch. Like nobody actually likes the talking heads who are just yelling at each other. Like, there are so few like ESPN guys who are actually well versed in the game of basketball, like the Zach Lowe, the JJ Redick. Those guys are so rare nowadays, and they're laying off the ones who do know the sport, like Stan Van Gundy laid off, Stephen A. Smith
I didn't
re-signed
love.
for a ton.
I didn't love Stan Van Gundy.
I liked them
love
too.
him.
Yeah,
I didn't.
it's just dumb.
But
It's so dumb.
I go forever on the NBA media, but I also would like to see this to stricten up rumor rules and regulations, like draft especially.
Yeah.
NFL, you can't release picks at all, at all. And I'm sorry, but the draft should be an event where everyone at the draft should be hyped, and they should be there the 8 seconds before you see it on live television or whatever. You know what I mean? But when everyone gets it on their phone 2 minutes before, it's what's the point of actually showing up to that thing? You just
we get it weeks ahead of time too. For the NBA draft, we knew the top 4 a month ahead of time.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. Well, I'm going to say one last thing about that. One thing that I do want to comment on, gambling companies absolutely should not be allowed to sponsor news organizations and talk shows.
Absolutely
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get into the ethics of it, but I'm going to leave it at that.
I could go on about that.
Yeah, I could go on and rant about it, but there's no reason Sham should have a show sponsored by FanDuel where he's announcing rumors and news articles about draft picks and things that actually affect betting. But outside of that,
all I'm gonna say is all of the Blazers fandom just hates Shams.
Yeah,
just hates him. Honestly, most of the NBA fandom should. He's just not. That's just there it is. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.